The six thinking hats technique, made popular by Edward de Bono, gives us a way of describing different modes of thinking. It can greatly improve productivity, particularly for teams that are involved in problem solving, planning, detailed analysis, or being creative. By focusing on one mode at a time, our thinking is optimized. It helps to provide clarity of thought and facilitate breadth of thinking. Each mode of thinking is represented by a different coloured hat. It's quite common for people who are new to the six thinking hats method to dismiss it as too wacky or too confusing. They cannot remember which colour means what, and so dismiss it out of hand. So, we want to make it easier to use the six thinking hats by linking them to visuals that will help you to easily recall which hat is used for what. There's no right sequence for using the hats, and they do not all have to be used every time. The choice of hats and the order in which you wear them will depend on what you're trying to do. Let's start with the blue hat. The colour blue may bring to mind images of azure seas or a clear summer sky, and these are good visuals to use. A blue sky encompasses everything beneath it. Water is an essential ingredient, a foundation of life. In the same way, the blue hat encompasses our thought processes by allowing us to think about and organise our thinking. The blue hat is the control hat. It's a key ingredient that underpins our decision-making. Whilst there's no set sequence to the hats, we should always start with the blue hat, setting the agenda, defining the problem, asking the right questions and providing focus. We should also finish with the blue hat to summarise and conclude, agree actions and set tasks. The blue hat is used for organising, defining outcomes and alignment. Let's ignore the physicists out there who will say that white's not a colour. It was in my crayon box, so I am happy to pretend that it is. As a colour, white is often associated with purity, innocence or new beginnings, a blank canvas waiting to be written upon, a clean sheet of paper. And what do we want to do when we see a clean sheet of paper? We want to fill it up with something. The white hat is about objectivity. It is the information hat. The white hat is about what we know. What are the facts? What information do we have? It is used to identify what we need, what information is missing, what questions do we need to ask, how are we going to get the data. We fill the white paper with what we understand to be the facts. The white hat, then, is about information, facts, data, questions, and answers. Next, let's look at yellow. Think of a warm beach under a bright yellow sun. Now, stop thinking about your next holiday and focus on me. Sunshine is typically associated with being happy and having a good time. It makes us feel positive. And that's our mode of thinking when we use the yellow hat. It is the optimistic view. What do we like about this? What's the best possible outcome? It's used to find the benefits and value, but we should also be able to give a reason. Why do you think it will happen that way? Using the yellow hat, we can consider both short and long-term perspectives. The yellow hat is our positive mode of thinking. It's about benefits and it's the optimistic view. And for many of us, it requires effort. It's far easier to wear the black hat. Again, our physicist friends will tell us that black is not a true colour either, but it is instead the absence of colour. The removal of light means that black is often associated with the unknown or loss, with negativity. Black is also a colour associated with authority and protection. That's why I like to think of the robes worn by judges in many parts of the world. The black hat is probably the most important hat. It is not the negative hat, it represents caution. The black hat offers protection by identifying the risks, difficulties and problems. Using the black hat, we ask ourselves, what are the risks? What could go wrong? Do we have the resources to do this? The black hat may be the skeptical view, but whilst it identifies potential problems and points out thinking that does not fit, reasons must be given. This ensures that the hat creates value. It represents critical judgment, capturing risks and being careful. Green may evoke images of rich foliage and vast landscapes, of plants and lawns of lush grass. Ideas like green lawns need to be looked after to grow, to be nurtured. Studies undertaken in Germany suggest that the colour green may boost creativity, and that is what the green hat represents: creativity. The vast landscapes allow us to expand our thinking, seeking alternatives and exploring new possibilities. This mode of thinking is concerned with originality and creating options. It doesn't have to be logical. This is the hat that is used for brainstorming and generating new concepts, when you may hear, "There are no bad ideas." We nurture new concepts by building and expanding, asking questions like, what happens next? Where could this idea take us? How can we improve it or make it better? What should we change? When we see red, we might think of anger, or we may think of the stylized heart that represents love. Love and anger are both powerful emotions, so the heart is a good visual for the red hat, as it's concerned with feelings. As feelings are personal, this is the only hat that does not need to be justified. There should be no questioning the feelings of others, but as this represents feelings right now, it should be kept short. We can ask, how do we feel about this? What's our gut feel? Under the red hat, we can also make sure that we're making decisions for the right reasons. Are my feelings getting in the way? The red hat is about feelings, intuition, hunches, and instinct. It can be helpful to put the hats into pairs to help recall. For example, black and yellow. These colours are often combined in nature to serve as a warning, and that links me to caution and the black hat, which keeps the yellow hat of optimism in balance. Blue and green. Green's about opening up, exploring possibilities, provoking ideas. Blue is about control, narrowing down, giving focus. Red and white. Red is feelings, intuition, listening to our instincts, even if we don't understand why. White is about information, objectivity, stripping all emotion away and considering just the facts. If the images suggested don't work for you, don't worry. If there is an image that links the colour to the function of the hat that works better for you, then use that. Once the purpose of each hat can be easily recalled, you'll be able to use the method as and when required, without effort.